So in this video, I'm going to share with you just a few investment principles that I think of that might be helpful for you when you're considering what kind of investments that you want to get into. So the first thing that most savvy investors are considering whenever they're placing an investment is how much return on investment are they going to make? Now, if you're an investor, you already know this. This is pretty straightforward, right? You're putting your money to work. You want to not only get that money back, but you want to make a return on investment. Now, a lot of investors, I would say, don't think so rationally as they think that they think. So what do I mean by that? A lot of investors get caught up in the investment vehicle. They find a favorite pony, and that's the best of the best, and they're going to ride that thing till the wheels fall off. And that's great. I believe in the power of investing in what you know. But I also believe in the power of looking at the numbers. I think a lot of times we get excited by, something that other people are doing and we want to fit in, or other people are making a lot of money at and we don't want to miss out on it. Or maybe we found something that works and we just want to stick with that and we're not willing to open our eyes to anything else. So most people fall in love with either stock, real estate. Now we have people in crypto. Other people get into precious metals. This video is not about picking who's the best investment vehicle. But what we want to look at is what are the principles that define a great investment, and then kind of take a peek at what you're investing in and see how it stacks up against that. So for example, return on investment is one of the top things that we're looking at. But anyone who's a savvy investor also knows you have to consider the risk that you're going to take to get that return on investment. In fact, it's not only about return on investment, it's also about return of investment, right? You want to make sure that you're getting your money back and getting interest. The next thing that a lot of people, I think, overlook, which is the importance of having control over your investment, right? Whenever you put it into real estate, maybe you have a little bit more control over how you can make some money with that property or have multiple options. Another thing to consider is collateral. In real estate, you have collateral. In crypto or in stock, you have a piece of paper saying that you have some sort of ownership, or even in bonds, you have some sort of collateral, but it's not maybe as tangible as real estate is, right? So consider all those factors: return on investment, what's your risk, what kind of control do you have, and what kind of collateral do you have? Now, if you're an investor right now, you're probably yawning because you've already heard this and maybe know this. But one thing I want to really challenge you to think about is, are there other assets that maybe you're looking past, right? I think a lot of people narrow their thinking down to maybe those kind of 4 asset classes because those are the most advertised. But the other day I met a guy, he was making a ton of money just fixing and flipping cars, right? And he made a huge business out of doing that. I know another guy who built a huge business out of a pawn shop. And a pawn shop is basically an investment company of sorts. They're buying things low, turning around and selling them high. And there's a lot of different investments that most of us don't even think twice about. Another one some of you know about, tax liens. This is where you can go buy tax liens from the government, and then you have some collateral and you have a guaranteed return on investment that you're going to get. Honestly, one of the best investments that you could possibly make are in these tax liens. They're very collateralized, safe, decent return on investment. But if you're looking for a safe place to park some money and make some money, tax liens are great. Most people don't think about those. So what's another asset class people don't talk about? Mobile homes. So mobile homes, if you've watched any of my other videos, I constantly talk about how much return on investment we're making. And underneath all of it, not only do we have control, but we also have collateral. And we also have something that people need, right? Affordable housing is a highly desirable thing during good times and bad times. So it's a great investment class that it's not very, sexy. You're not going to want to talk about it at a cocktail party. But if you look at the numbers and you compare it side by side with the S&P 500 or side by side with even real estate, oftentimes the actual numbers will show you that the return on investment is much higher for mobile homes than in other asset classes. So as you know, I'm a huge advocate because frankly, it's worked for me. And I've done it for over 20 years, created a lot of videos to document everything that I'm sharing with you right now. So if you go on our website, mobilehomefranchise.com, and go on the free learning section, I have a whole section there on actual mobile homes that we flipped, and you can look to see what we purchased it for, what we sold it for, how much return on investment we made, how long it took, all of that. And what you'll see is a pattern of, wow, you can make a ton of money fixing and flipping mobile homes. Now, some people look at another factor, which is the lazy investor. They don't want to work, right? Let me park it and forget it. And I appreciate that as well. And usually you'll make a little bit less money doing it that way, but hey, there's no hassle, the liability is low, and it's great. But what I would say, when you look at mobile homes, the opportunity there, yes, you're going to put a little bit more work in, but your return on investments can be significantly higher. And if you're in a phase of life where you're trying to aggressively build wealth, you should absolutely look at how can you expedite that process. To set it and forget it, that might be great with a portion of your money, but if you want that aggressive growth, look at mobile homes. And I also will say the risk is so much lower. If you know your market, you're purchasing the properties at the proper price point, the risk is so low, you have a lot of control. You can manage what you're buying the home for, what you're selling the home for, making sure you're making a good return on investment. So highly, highly, highly recommend it. If you're interested in learning more about how to invest in mobile homes, again, check out the website, mobilehomefranchise.com. Happy investing to you. I'll see you on the next video.